Hello, fine people, and welcome to the show. This is part two of how to choose the right weapon, not the best weapon, but the right weapon. So we're gonna get into it real quick. Um, as I stated in the last video, going mixed with your weapons would be very, very helpful for a lot of reasons, and that's what we're gonna go over a little bit more in detail in this video. So, with that being said, let's jump in. So, first of all, when we choose our weapon, there's a couple caveats. So, choosing our weapon based on what ship, what do we intend to do in the verse, whether we're mining, whether we're cargo hauling, whether we're pirating, or we're bounty hunting. So, that's going to determine naturally what weapon you choose. Now, more so than ever. I have the Ghost Rider. I call it the Ghost Rider and Hornet Ghost. So we're gonna take a look at this in this mixed example for this type of ship. It's a fighter ship, stealth fighter. So let's take a look at what I got set up. So as you notice here in the top right or right side of my screen, I got Mantis and 3 lasers. So this is the big reason, one reason rather, you want to use a mixed loadout. So let's say, for example, I had all lasers and didn't have the Mantis. Now you see that the Panther's at 36 ammo and the Badger's at 43 ammo. So what would happen would happen if I went all lasers on this ship? That energy has to be shared between more lasers. So that will reduce my ammo count. That makes sense to you? So if I would use all lasers, being that I have to move my capacitor, let's look at it. Give me 1 second. So if I have to move my capacitor over to get that ammo, get more ammo, well, see, all that energy has to be shared. If these two were lasers, all that energy would have to be shared to extra lasers. So that would reduce my ammo. This is one big reason why you would want to mix with 1 or 2, or maybe 3, depending on your ship, ballistics. The second most important thing when you do this method, when you use this method, is here in your weapons tab. So we go to our weapons tab and we go to guns. This is why I said in the first video, if you haven't watched it, please take a look. But in the first video, grouping your weapons is more important now than it's ever been. Okay, for this reason, with the mixed loadout, and even if you weren't mixed, and we'll get into that as well. But being that I have a mixed loadout, I want these weapons to be on different groups. Okay, now I can put all my lasers on 0 group and then my Mantis ballistics on the second group, on 1 group. Okay, so that's a big thing. So let's reset this back and we'll get into how this affects it as well. So other than if I move this all the way up to my weapons, I get more ammo. Or if I move it all the way down to my thrust, when I use my boost, as you notice here, when it goes down, so being that I got all my capacitor energy in my engines there, so my boost will go up a lot faster. My boost will charge a lot faster if I just had it, let's say, balanced. It won't charge near as fast. Very slow. So a lot of you already got that for the most part. Shields, I would say, is the #1 thing, and I'm gonna tell you why. In the previous patches, you could go here and you could harden your shield face, right? You could harden the shield face. So on a smaller ship, let's say, for example, you are in an Eclipse, and the Eclipse is very, susceptible to damage really easily. It's very easy to kill if somebody gets on it pretty good. in that instance, I would go with ballistics, full ballistics on those type of ships. Let's take a look at our components here. So if I had one shield, any ship, this is my rule. If the ship only has one shield and it's a size 1, I go all ballistics on that ship. I go all ballistics because I don't have time to dilly-dally around and tickle my opponent or somebody that's attacking me with lasers and trying to shift capacitor power to lasers and shields, and I don't have that type of time. I'm not designed. That ship is not designed to be in a dogfight. Okay, so I would definitely go all ballistics with that sort of ships, and any ship that I have with size 1 shields, that's my rule in this patch. But going back to the laser scenario, so the less lasers I have, the more ammo I get in it, right, for energy, if that makes sense. So we want to go in our groups and we want to stagger our weapons. So what I mean by that is I'll shoot my lasers, right? I got more ammo because I have less lasers. When it's low, dry, then we can go ahead and use our mantis till our batteries charge up, right? We let off our ballistics and we go back to lasers. See how that works? This way you could keep sustained damage on your target, right? While your lasers are charging, you could use your ballistics, and then once the laser's fully charged, you can go back to using lasers. And we're shooting the guy, we low, we go to ballistics. The lasers charge up. We can get off the ballistic to conserve some of that ammo, and we can go back to lasers. But by the time you do that cycle at least once, you should have your target just about dead, in my opinion, right? Because we want to take advantage of the extra damage of the ballistics, right? But we're limited on ammo, okay? But we still want to take advantage of the damage. So this is the best way. Mixed is the best way to do it. Okay, so let's talk about full lasers or full ballistic loadout, and what situation would you use that? And I touched on it a little bit. So let's say we got go back to the Eclipse example. So the Eclipse is not a fighter, and we got anything with a size 1 shield and below that's not, it could be a fighter, but we're not gonna last very long. This ship has 2 size 1 shields, right? So we can get away with a little something with this one, but even still, with this mixed loadout, that helps me. But let's say we got a ship that only has 1 size 1 shield. So we need to get rid of our target as quickly as we can. We can't do that with lasers. If I put lasers on the Eclipse, if I miss with my torpedoes, here comes the guy attacking me. I need to shoot back. I don't have time to switch back and forth between if you look at my capacitors, shields, then the weapons, let it charge up and be on shield. I don't have that type of time. So being that we put all ballistics on that ship, we can forget about, if you look at my capacitor triangle there, we can do that. And we can leave it there, right? As soon as we get in the hangar, we get our ship, or we on the pad, or on the surface of a moon or planet, and we taking off, we want
charging
our capacitors.
Battery.
Sorry about that. We want our capacitors to be on shields. There's no need for it to really be anywhere else. It don't need to be balanced. It don't need to be on thrust, right? Because we're not going to be using thrust like that. Shields will benefit us. Now, as I was saying earlier, a long time ago, we had the shield hardening. By me putting this on 100%, I get that bonus. That's where it's been moved to 100% on shields. Only if my shields are 100%. If my shields are 80 or 90 or whatever, I don't get that shield hardening bonus by moving it here, right? So if my shields are down or low, and then all of a sudden do that, well, I don't get the bonus until they hit 100. Now I got the shield hardening. Okay, so if you in a prospector for you miners, right, and you out mining, your capacitor should be set just like that the whole time, and you should be having ballistics on your ship. You should be having, I mean, really think about what I'm saying. You should have ballistics on those ships, all ballistics, for that role. It's not a fighter, right? So what your plan is to put ballistics on your ship, not cannons, because cannons are meant for large ships, and we'll get into that. But you want ballistic repeaters of some sort on your ship, on that ship. That way, if a guy comes and attack you, or someone comes to attack you, you'll make them think twice, being that you're all ballistics a little bit, because you can put up a fight with the damage output long enough for you to get out of there, not for you to stay in the fight, but long enough for you to get out, to deter that person or that whatever it is attacking you, so you can get out of there, right? So we keep our shields here when we're mining. This benefits you in a lot of ways. If there's desync and it lags or something, the rock, you miner guys know what I'm talking about. You're mining a rock and it explodes on you. You get that bonus for having it at 100, right? If somebody comes in and attacks you, you got that. You already got your shields at a bonus, so it gives you a little bit more to play with. But those are some examples of why you would want to go for ballistics for those ships that don't have the role of being a fighter, okay? And even for those that are like an arrow, right? So arrows. Just a quick example. If I'm in an arrow, it would depend on what I'm going to do in the arrow. If I'm just going to do bounty mission contracts, then I would probably run a mixed loadout in the arrow. Probably. I'm more leaning towards a full ballistic loadout because I don't know what I'm going to run into, and that's the beauty of it, right? I shouldn't be going alone in my arrow in that type of ship. Those type of ships are meant for packs, right? The Talons, the Arrows, all those small ships, they're meant to be used in packs. So all your buddies, get your buddies, you know, and all that kind of stuff, and you all together attacking someone, not just you. That's going to determine your loadout. And even then, I would have maybe one or two guys with a mixed loadout, one or two guys with all ballistic loadout, something like that. I wouldn't, everybody not the same loadout, because you're not going to know what you're going to run into. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at a couple of examples of what I was saying here in the all right, so we're going to lead off. So they're done. So now we see how that works. I didn't even have to fire a lot of my ballistics there. And that's what I'm talking about. So this is why the mixed loadout is very, very helpful. But it depends on the ship, as we discussed. So he tried to get me with some missiles. That's all right. So yep, we lead in with our lasers. He's a pretty big ship, Tana. If I don't hit that asteroid, all right. Then we can go in once you get used to understanding when our laser is going to run out. Then we go lead in with our ballistics, and then we let off, and that way we conserve a lot of ammo doing it that way. I don't know if he's firing that missile at me, but yeah. So you can kind of see. So if you guys are in a constellation, so let's go into constellations and large ships like that, cutlasses. So the first order of business, if you're going out in your constellation, you want somebody to be in the gunner seat. You want that turret gunner. That turret gunner has way more ammo than the pilot. So that's going to be a big help. A big help to you having a turret gunner. That turret gunner ammo is really up there when it comes to the lasers. I wouldn't put ballistics on the turret. You know, you can if you want, but I wouldn't do that. You don't want your turret gunner to be out of ammo at any point. And it's, even though they get a lot, even if they put ballistics on the turret, you still get quite a lot. But you get quite a lot with the lasers. So say for instance, some of you guys run cannons with your Constellation or something like that. So mix it with a repeater. Because if you run into a small fighters like these out in the verse, you get interdicted with 9 tails or something, and they got these little hurricanes or something. You can put up a fighting chance along with your turret gunner to kill them. You know, if you use all cannons, then it's gonna make it your job harder to hit your target. Even though the cannons have very good DPS. And the way DPS works is you gotta hit your target. DPS only matters on the weapon if you hit the target. Otherwise, your DPS is 0, no matter what the weapon is, right? So we want to mix our loadout in that instance as well, but not with ballistics, but with a repeater. So we want to use a cannon, we mix it with a repeater, so we can still be effective if we run across different ships of different sizes. We can be effective, and that pip won't be thrown off by our cannons, right? And we won't miss shots and waste energy, because that's just a waste at that point, right? Like I said, DPS is only effective if you're hitting your target. See how I transition between ballistics and lasers there? And that's a good way to do it. Now my shields are low. I got a window to kind of charge up. This guy's on me. I'll charge up my shields 100%. Go 100%. Right? And I ate that missile. It's alright. But yeah, that's how we want to do it with our weapons. That's how we want to do it. Just like this. When it comes to the small fighters. Now, if I was, like I said, if I was in a Prospector or Eclipse or, you know, M50 or even a snub fighter like the ones that come on the Connie, there's no reason to put lasers on that. There's no reason. We want to keep all ballistics because we don't have time to be going back and forth like this with our capacitors. That makes sense. So I hope I help you guys out on understanding getting the right loadout for your ship, depending on what you want to do, and that's what it's based on. Okay. Some of this may change, but for now, I think this is the best way to go about it. So I hope it helped you guys out, and I appreciate all the support I've been getting lately. I don't have a lot of time to make videos because I have a full-time job, but I really, really thank you guys for helping me out. And liking and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.